right. So, welcome everybody to Spiritual Experiencers. And my name is Catherine Chapey, and I'm so happy that you're here with us tonight. Tonight, we have a wonderful speaker, a wonderful guest. His name is Joshua Zuchter. And I had the pleasure of meeting Joshua last month at the IANS conference, which was their 50th anniversary conference. And so Joshua has agreed to come and share about his journey and his wisdom and what he's learned and a little bit about what he does in the world. So I'm just going to read a quick bio. So from birth, Joshua Zuchter has been God aware and as a result has had a pure connection with Source, the other side, likely due to a near-death experience in the womb. This connection has led him to receive near constant guidance and insight into the multidimensional nature of consciousness. Over the course of his life, he has had countless spiritually transformative experiences, memories from many distinct lifetimes, and is a natural clairaudient and clairsentient. This also allows him to understand all beings who meet him. Joshua actually sees, feels, hears, and knows you the moment he connects with you. And Joshua early on studied Reiki, therapeutic touch, Qigong, sound healing, brain gym, the Silva method, and quantum touch, just to name a few. And he also graduated with psychology and languages from Western University in Ontario, Canada. So I want to welcome Joshua Zuchter. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight. And welcome.
Thank you so much. So nice to see everyone. I'm grateful, Catherine, for you having me here and hopefully for some fun that we're going to have today, this evening.
Right.
Uh, so I usually I've given quite a few workshops over my life, and I'm used to interaction. So this is actually a bit unusual for me to just be here. My style in giving presentations is interactive. So, but for the nature of this. I suppose it's a little bit me more speaking, a little less interactive in the beginning. So um, when I was 5 years old, I had said to my mother, I used to be a painter. And she said to me, Oh, really? When was that? And at the time, I didn't have the word reincarnation in my vernacular, my vocabulary. And so I knew that the only way that I could explain it to her was by telling her this. I used to be a painter before I grew up, grew down, and grew up again. And in that moment, she realized that there was something somewhat unusual about me. And so that was at age 5. And so um, if you had met me back then, believe it or not, I was the same in maturity as I am now. So I've been this way my entire life. Um, about 3.5, 4 years ago, I was subscribed to a newsletter, and it was for an organization called philosophy.org. I'm not affiliated, but I'm a huge fan of it. And it was based on the teachings of Walter Russell. And there was an individual who was speaking for their one of their conferences, and her name was PJ Atwater. And so she had just come out with a book on children and babies that had had near-death experiences. And as soon as I saw that, something in me just clicked into place. Instead of being like this, it just went perfectly in sync. And in that moment, a huge piece of my life kind of made sense. And I realized I probably had died in the womb. I don't have any record of it, unfortunately. My mother's transitioned, she transitioned 18 years ago, so I can't ask her. My father wouldn't know. And if in the womb, all it takes is 3 to 1 second for a baby to transition, go out and come back into their body, and that being is forever changed. So for me, I just went through my life being different and the odd duck out, a very late bloomer, even though I was mature. I couldn't understand why everyone else wasn't like I was. And what does that mean, like I was? Well, whenever I would meet anyone, I could tell how they felt. I understood them immediately. I assumed that everyone was like that with me as well, even though I couldn't pick that up. And I quickly discovered that no one was like that. No one was like that. So it was a very difficult experience, and I was quite angry, believe it or not, that I had chosen to come into this kind of reality where I had no one who could guide me, no one understood me. I was a better parent when I was 5 than my parents were. Um, so I had anger towards myself for choosing to come here. I was angry at God for being a part of that mission. And I was angry at the universe for being a part of it. So all of it together, I actually was quite an angry, frustrated child. Um, and I had these memories, and no one could validate where I was at. When I would meet people, they would be smiling, but inside, I could feel that they were not feeling the way that they were projecting on their face as a child. So there's a lot of confusion for someone who's like that. And I wonder, I'm going to ask everyone here, I'm just going to switch my view to gallery view. Um, who here is a near-death experiencer or has had spiritually transformative experiences? Who has experienced maybe clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance? Okay, so I think all of you probably get what I'm referring to. And so, and if you haven't, that's okay too. And we're all different and the same at the same time. So I remember in school, other capabilities that I was aware of. We used to play a form of dodgeball, and I'm going to share this only because of what it shows that we can all do, that we can access. So this game that we played of dodgeball is you'd have a kids in the center of a big square, and you'd have one person on the outside, and the person on the outside would have a ball, and they would throw it at kids on the inside to knock them out. And so eventually you have more and more kids leaving the center, going on the outside. I was always the one who was last to be on the inside because I could see where everyone was going to throw the ball before they threw it. So I could get out of the way, dodge, I could jump. Even when my back was to them, I could see where they were going to throw the ball before. So someone was behind me, they would throw the ball, I jump up just as it went underneath my legs without me even seeing it. This was very helpful when I played competitive tennis later on in life. And if you're familiar with hockey or not, Wayne Gretzky is a well-known hockey player from maybe 30 years ago. And he's very known for saying that he always would skate to where the puck was going to be. Well, I haven't heard anyone say, well, how do you know where how do you know where the puck's going to be? How would you know that? And so this is an ability that we're all born with, and we're born with many abilities. Catherine had asked me in this session, because I give workshops, to also share maybe some takeaways, and so I wanted to share some of these abilities in case maybe a person here is not an experiencer. Many experiencers tend to notice these abilities after they come back. And so, in my opinion, they're always dormant in us. And so they're just awaiting for them to be lit up. I see here JB said, I'm with you on womb death, including reading people like a lie detector. Exactly. Absolutely. It's exactly it. So I had a difficult childhood, and when I was approximately 6, I threatened to take my own life because it was so difficult. So fortunately, and I knew how I was going to do it. It was not going to be successful. As a child, I was thinking butter knife, and I just don't think that was going to work. But so it's kind of cute, and also, you know, at least I can laugh about it. It took me many years for me to come to peace with why I was born that way. And I was very fortunate to attract mentors. So when I was 18, I had dated a girl who had a photographic memory, perfectly photographic memory. So she could remember page 250 of her biology textbook, and tell you what was on line 6, word 4. And I thought, oh my God, I want that kind of memory. I want to have that kind of photographic recall. So I spoke with my chiropractor and I said, "Do you know of anyone who can help me to create a photographic memory?" And he said, "Actually, my kids are working with someone." So she became a mentor of mine. And every 2 weeks for 5 years, she was like my Obi-Wan Kenobi, if you understand the Star Wars reference. So I had like a real life Obi-Wan Kenobi for 5 years. I learned about the subconscious mind, emotions, health, nutrition. And one day I asked her a spiritually oriented question. And she said to me, "I think you need to speak with my friend." So I spoke with her friend, and her friend became like my spiritual mother. She became like my Yoda. So for 8 years, every week for 8 years, I studied with her, learning about how to connect with my guides, angels. And so that is my foundation. So I have a fairly intensive training history that I think it's a privileged scenario because most people don't tend to attract that. So I'm grateful that I had those. Both those mentors, they could kind of see me, but not fully. But it was closer to me than anyone I had met. So I felt somewhat soothed by having someone who at least somewhat understood me. And so um, a part of my upbringing related to my father, and this is an important conversation or description about, you'll see why I'm sharing this. So my father was the disciplinarian. He was the one that, made us go to school, my sister and I, of course, logically. But of course, being someone who was like an 85-year-old in a 5-year-old body, I was like, well, this is not going to serve me. No one knows what they're doing. They're teaching about God. I went to a religious school, and they have no clue what God is. They are teaching what they learned God was. And so my father was the kind of the disciplinarian, and I was a difficult child for him and my mother. And so I developed a significant hatred for him, poor guy. And hatred, I'm using that lightly when I say it. So I remember when I turned 18, my girlfriend, same girlfriend, we had gone to see a movie called My Life. And My Life had Michael Keaton in it. It was about his relationship with his family, and he was dying. It's a bit of a very somber, depressing film. I don't recommend it. But for me, it was a bit of an awakener because I realized while I was watching it, I didn't want my life to turn out that way. I didn't want to have this hatred in me. And so something in me released when I saw this movie. I didn't have to do any releasing. I didn't have to do something specific that caused me to release it. Just naturally, something faded out of me. And the next day, I waited in the dining room where my father would read the newspaper every Sunday morning, and I was just bawling my eyes out. And I said, I realized how much he cared about us, and he was doing his best. And so all the hatred that I had had built up for 18 years completely dissolved. So thank goodness there was no more hatred. There wasn't any like I wasn't excited about his role in my life, but I had no more hatred. So that was a very significant experience for me. Fast forward another 18 years, believe it or not, I happened to be watching another movie called August Rush, which I do recommend. Robin Williams, the late Robin Williams, was in it. And it's a story about a boy who's given up as a baby for adoption, and he's a musical genius. And within the film, he encounters this male role model. I won't give the film away in case you watch it. And there's a scene where they're interacting. Now, I was watching this film and exercising while I was watching the film, and all of a sudden, as I'm observing this relationship in the movie, something in me started to happen. I started to have this movement up my stomach, up my chest, and then it hit. And I remembered in that moment the agreement that my father's soul and I made before we came into this life. And I was completely overwhelmed. I felt embarrassed, ashamed, terrible for treating him so poorly for 36 years because he actually was going to, quote unquote, this is not the best word, but sacrifice, knowing that every day he would see me and feel my hate, but he was going to come into this world and give life to me so that, but go through that feeling while he was supporting me coming into the world. And so after probably 10 or 20 minutes of uncontrollable sobbing, there was no person on the planet that I respected more than my father. And why am I sharing this with you? For a few reasons. Because it showed me that we can let go of any emotion, no matter how intense, in a millisecond. Many people who have near-death experiences go to the other side and layers of ego are wiped away, which is beautiful and also traumatic. Because when you come over back to the side, you're left with a life that no longer is what you thought it was. You now are more sensitized, aware of things that you weren't aware of, trying to put the pieces like Humpty Dumpty, trying to put a life back together again. And the density of this side is overpowering to the ego. And because you're heightened awareness, you feel the density after not having any density at all. I would say I live a privileged experience because I experienced this in the womb. So for me, my system is integrated. So I'm not affected by crowds. I can be around a million people and I'm not affected at all. I can pick up on things, but it doesn't stick to me. And so a part of my life, my work that I do is helping people to let go of what I call the stickiness, or I prefer the stickiness, so that we're more like vibrational Teflon, so that things just slide right off or glide right off. And so I was working at a university for 5 years, but I knew that it wasn't really what I was here for. I loved it. It was an amazing experience. I got to give 500 workshops over 5 years. So I developed incredible speaking capabilities. My ease in speaking with crowds was developed over that time. And my ability to tune into, instead of just tuning into one-to-one, which I was used to, I started tuning into mass amounts of people at once. And so that was a whole new concept. I remember giving a workshop at a college called George Brown College in Toronto, Canada. And there were 13 people in the audience with me. And it was the first time ever that I tapped into everyone all at the same time. And it took me a few moments to understand what was going on. But it served me so well going forward when speaking for, let's say, 300 or 1,000, because there's no difference. So I'm sharing these experiences because I know that when we're talking, when I'm speaking here, that some of this is also moving through into you, that it's not just my words. I hope you can feel my energy and my care for every single one of you at the highest level. Um, I've loved everyone from the day that I was born. Uh, and I always love everyone. In fact, the weirdest part is I always felt like everyone was my child, which is very weird. Has anyone else felt that? Anyone else felt like everyone feels like you care about them at that level? Yeah, yeah. Because I didn't have anyone to count on in my mind, I couldn't count on anyone. I had to develop my counting on myself. I attracted all these spiritual mothers my whole life, but I never attracted a spiritual father. And I asked God why that was. Why was I attracting all these spiritual mothers and not a father? And the answer is actually pretty fantastic. It's because I'm to be that to become who I am, to step into that energy, I need to become that for myself and allow God's source to be that for me. And so this was, this is me growing up. This is me in my teens. This is me in my 20s and my 30s and my 40s, and I'm now in my 50s, believe it or not. And so the next major experience happened in the year 2000 when I found Abraham Hicks and the law of attraction. Is anyone familiar with the law of attraction, Abraham Hicks? Okay. So I became a significant student of theirs for a year. I listened to tapes, believe it or not, tapes for a year. I read their original I read their original books, A New Beginning, book 1 and 2. And I love the information, and I realized who and what was speaking through Esther. And it was the purest source of wisdom on the planet that I had ever come across. And so I committed to that. And then at the end of a year, something in me said to let go of it. And I began giving my own workshops, and I didn't want their information to be in the way of what I was teaching and sharing. Over the years, interestingly, I would give a workshop, and someone would say to me, "Do you realize you just said the exact same thing Abraham just said on their most recent tape?" And I'd say, "Really?" And it kept happening. And in 2017, I decided that although I had had abundance in my life, it wasn't the abundance that is our birthright. And I realized I was going to commit to that. So I did an exercise. I call it an alignment exercise or a vibration exercise, where I would talk out loud with myself about abundance, prosperity, etc. And in that 10 minutes, I got into the highest vibration I'd ever been in my entire life. I began hearing Abraham, and within 7 months, I was semi-retired, discovered no more aging, which is now part of the biohacking work that I do with people to reverse age. And I've lived a very fortunate life ever since, financially. I discovered what full-on abundance is. And now I help people to discover that as well, as part of my repertoire, if we could say that. Don't get me wrong, I was in abundance, and then I slowly had a slow burn somewhat out of that frequency. So I went in, became millionaire for the first time. I'm not showboating here. I just want to show you what it looks like. And then I started to slowly lose that wealth. It started to fizzle out. And then eventually I caught it, and I was able to go back into alignment. So the way I teach it is we have our soul and we have our minds. And when we're in sync with our soul, we have access to all that soul, God source is. And as we go out of sync, we begin to lose some of that goodness. So even a slight movement out. So let me put it this way. I was living like this financially. Early in my career, I was evicted. I had zero money coming in for many months. I had no savings. I had no idea what I was going to do in my life. On the verge of living on the street. Fortunately, in the year 2002, when this was happening, I did another exercise which pulled me like this. So basically, I was like this, and then I went like that. Just that little blip. That little blip was enough for me to not have to live on the street. It started to turn my life around. But when I experienced in 2017 what I did, it was more like I went from here to here. And when we're talking that amount, just to show you the difference here and what we're capable of, going from here to here is an extra $100 million. And going from here to here is, let's say, several billion dollars. Every one of us is capable of this. 100%. No question in my mind. And we can do it with alignment. So I'm so grateful that at that time I went full alignment with Abraham, and I've been teaching the law of attraction as Abraham, as you hear from Abraham ever since. I'm a big fan of studying their work and becoming masterful at it. So I recommend everyone, again, I'm not affiliated directly with Esther Hicks, although I love her. I recommend the book Ask and It Is Given. I have been attempting to connect the near-death world with the Abraham material because it is the manual on how to live in this physical reality. It is how to align with who we are. So we don't have to live a disjointed life. We can actually get into sync with everything that we are here for, that we desire, that we want to create. And this is in all areas. So this would be with physical health. This would be with romance. This would be with friendships. This would be with family. This would be with finances, career, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. To the point where I would do an exercise and 20 seconds later, the thing that I was asking for would show up. 20 seconds. No kidding. I have a full practice of approximately 25 clients, and they know that this is true. Because anyone that works with me, I have them read Ask and It's Given as the first thing we do. And I teach them the law of attraction so they can navigate this universe. It's really funny to me because way back, as a man who shaves, I've never read a manual for an electric shaver. I think virtually no male has ever read the manual for an electric. You just buy the shaver and you shave. I use the example because one day I found the manual for my shaver and I thought, oh, I might as well read it. Can you believe I've been shaving for 8 years and it actually explains a way to shave in a way that I never knew, and it was a better shave. I just couldn't, it was such a simple, basic thing. And there it was. Imagine having a manual on how to operate in this physical universe so we get to experience joy all day, every day. And so to me, that's a part of why we are here. It's been my experience, contrary or a little bit different from others. Many people teach, and I'm not against this idea, but many people say we're here to learn. And I haven't found that to be the case. I love how Abraham views it. And even my mentor used to say the same thing, and she was not really into Abraham back then. Our purpose here is joy, just joy. And here's how I can prove it, especially to the near-death experiencers here, because when you went to the other side, assuming you had an uplifted experience, was there not joy? Bliss? It was beyond bliss. Wasn't it beyond? And if that is naturally who we are, because we have free will, we are able to get in sync with that joy in every second of every day, on every topic, in every moment. Pow, I love it, David. That's fantastic. I love that. So here we are, dear friends, profound beings of light. I'm taking a look at all of you, connecting with you. Nice to see you. Thank you. So law of attraction is one of the components. It's a major component of my life that I share with others. There is a second major component. The second major component is another method that I came across in 2004. As you can tell, universe keeps guiding me to these things that will help me to navigate in this physical reality. And I'm here to present them to you so you can do the same if you choose. And I'm sure you found many things that help you, and that's why we're all here, is to share and serve each other. Um, in 2004, my experience back then was all of my clients were doing great, and all of a sudden one day, it was as if every single client in one day had taken, 10 steps backwards, and I couldn't understand what happened. And so I asked universe, what was going on? Please show me how I could help my clients. And then the next week, I heard about the Sedona method through three different sources who were not connected. The Sedona method was channeled by a man named Lester Levinson. Shout out to Hal Dwoskin, who is the one of his major primary students, and he wrote the book called The Sedona Method. And the essence of the Sedona method is how to let go of emotion, like dropping a pen out of your hand. And so I became a student of the Sedona method, and I've used it myself ever since. That was 2004. So it's been 21 years, and those are my two primary methods. I teach them with clients as if doing a bicep exercise and doing a tricep exercise. So you work this muscle and you work this muscle. The law of attraction is focusing. The Sedona method is letting go. And then you have a perfect combination and a brilliant way to navigate in this reality. You know, for someone who's I have a carpenter who's a client, and that's an area that is not one of my specialties. And he knows that every time I try to use a metaphor from his field into mine, I struggle. But a carpenter uses so many different tools in their work. Why don't we use tools when it comes to our mind, emotions, energy, and spirituality? And so, fortunately, universe has laid these before me and has supported me to be able to move through this reality or non-reality with these tools. And so, um, law of attraction, Sedona method, and a third that I kind of quasi invented was a type of journaling. I call it core journaling. And core journaling is a way to ask questions and get the answers. So asking God questions and then receiving the answers. And so, you don't have to have a formal, core journaling experience. We can simply write down questions. The writing is very important, by the way. So I'm going to just detail slightly this technique. What you do is you have a piece of paper, pen, pen, not pencil, not crayon, not marker, pen, and you want to, and not keyboard. And I'll explain why not keyboard in a second. You're literally writing down a question that you have about any aspect of life. When you write down the question, the answer already was given. Ask and it is given. The ask and it is given process happens in microseconds. So when we are asking the question, the answer is already given. It just takes us a while to tune into the answer. The cool thing about the journaling process is why do we need to write? Why not type? Because the mind goes so fast, it actually starts slowing down to keep up with our writing speed, which is slower. So as the mind slows down, we slip into the space between words, which is where the answers lie. Make sense? This is why I recommend journaling. And this is so now we have law of attraction, we have Sedona method, we have journaling. I'm also a big fan of meditation, by the way, of course. So I've been meditating for 35 years, and that's been another support for me. So I haven't met many, although I'm sure there's many of experiencers in the womb, from the womb. And it's fun when I observe myself because so for anyone who's had a death experience, I'm not sure if you went through the life review. Has anyone gone through that here? Okay. I live that every day. So every interaction I have with every person, I'm aware of how I am and how they are in every second of that interaction. I can't get away from that, even if I wanted to. And I'm used to it, so it's not a burden, it's not difficult, it's just very natural. Um, I'm mentioning it because it allows me to observe me as a third or second person. So I'm always in observance of myself. And that's actually been a challenge because it means I have never really fully been in my physical body 100%. I've always kind of lived slightly outside of my body. And I find that I've met many experiencers who are the same now. They don't really live fully in their body. So to be able to integrate into the physical body sometimes is tricky. So this is why I do recommend for everyone to take care of your body and to work with your physical body that is the shell for us to interact and engage with the world. I think it's very important. Even if we don't think it's that important, it's just a good practice to do. You don't have to get younger, it's up to you. I'd rather you just be healthy and feel good and feel great your whole life physically so that it's not getting in the way of your connection. So it's not exactly technique, it's more of a kind of side thought. Maybe this is a good point to maybe pause and I'm happy to see if anyone wants to share anything and then we can continue on. Catherine, is that okay?
Oh, there I am. Okay, hold on a second. All right. So, wow, that was thank you for sharing that. That was really wonderful. I have a few questions before I ask if anybody else has any questions. So, you were talking about getting into alignment and how you feel that everybody can live in this state all the time, right? Of joy and bliss. And so what I'm wondering is, can you give examples of certain processes that you've done in order to keep your mind in a state where you are open to those experiences instead of that negative thought that can come in? And when that negative thought comes in, what is it that you do, and how can you train your mind not to be your worst enemy? Does that make
You
sense?
know, yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to point out something that is so magically meaningful to everyone here, guaranteed. Because anyone who is into this material like we are is likely a truth seeker. Would you say that you are a truth seeker all about truth? Yes, I'm certain. I'm near certain. I haven't met one being who is at the near. I've been to three near-death IANS conferences. I haven't met one person that was not a truth seeker looking for truth, pure truth. There is a major challenge for truth seekers. Major, major. This is one of the greatest awarenesses that I've come across in this life so far. Because I've been a truth seeker since I was born, JB is not a truth seeker. Okay, nice work. That serves you. There's benefit to not being a truth seeker. Okay.
And she's being truthful about it.
Yeah, exactly. And
Thank
truth
you, Julie.
and oh yeah, and when and by the way, when you say trying to find your own truth, that's what I'm referring to. Not my truth, but yours. I'm not meaning you finding mine. I'm saying you finding your own, but still looking for your own truth. The challenge, there's always pros and cons with everything, and the yin and yang. And the challenge with being a truth seeker in any version of it is that we look at what is. We're always looking at what is. When you learn the law of attraction, you come to realize that we are creating in every second of every day. But if we're looking at what is, We are amplifying what is. If we are looking at what is, we are amplifying what is. So then the catch is, how do we get out of what is if I want to create this reality? This becomes a conundrum. The truth of the matter was, in the year 2002, my bank account had minus $2.35. The truth in me noticed the truth and then was fixated on the truth and kept me in the truth. So I realized that I was masterful at looking at the truth, and I was not masterful at all at looking to where I wanted to go. Funny enough, if you drive, if you ice skate, if you rollerblade, you're always looking down the road. You're not looking at where you are.
Mhm.
And the key is, can we do that in life? Of course we can. But it takes having to let go temporarily of the truth of whatever is and looking towards instead where we would like to be. So I'm just setting up the answer to what you're asking, because it would be very difficult to be able to become the creators that we are here for if we are staying stuck on what is. So we may have to peel ourselves away from the truth slightly, let it be there for a few moments while we look to where we want to go instead.
And is that something you do with visualizing? And
You
is it,
can.
or how often do you have to do that in order to bring that reality um to you and make that your current truth?
It's been my experience that it is natural. It is natural for us to receive everything we are here for. So dare I say a perfect life, we are all here to receive that. But the majority of the world is resisting that. So we're either receiving or we're resisting. And we resist a lot. And that's why you hear 10% of the world controls 90% of the world. And that notion, and it's not that they control it, it's that they have figured out how to put their attention down the road where they want to get to. That's one part of it. The other part is that each of us is our own, as you know, if you've had near death or you've had your own STEs, spiritually transformative experience, you are really the hub of your entire life, of everything that's going on. And in my experience, there's no one that can actually affect my life, only me. And that's also a tricky thing to be okay with, because it appears in our interactions that people can affect us. How much is that about them and how much is that about us? And if I am a creator, then for me to own my entire existence, I own every aspect of my creation. If there's a tornado somewhere, I say this with great love for everyone, that is a part of my creation. I own it to that level. If there's beauty in the world, that is my creation. If there is treachery in the world, that is my perception and my creation. Many people want to be the creators of their life, but if a person wants to, they have to get to the point where they actually claim that they are the creator of their entire life. You can't be creator of some things and not of others. Exactly, JB. Exactly. So it takes a lot of mental fortitude to get past some of these truths to get to. So let's use a really one that all of us would probably resonate with, I'm assuming, and you don't have to, but let's assume we all want peace in the world. Okay. Those that are spiritual beings all want peace in the world. We want peace in our life and we want peace in the world. There's no question about it. Anyone who is slightly connected to God's source with awareness wants peace in the world, in your neighborhood, in your community, in your family, in your relationships. So then, by looking at the areas where there's not peace, it means we are amplifying the not peace. So it can be a little tricky initially to pull our attention away. But if we can start doing that and saying, well, where are the areas where peace already exists? Let's find where peace is and let's magnify those areas. So this is like phase one, let's say, of moving away from what is unwanted to wanted. This will start to move us a little bit more like this, be a little bit of a movement. So then how do we keep this momentum going? And by the way, the further out of balance we are, the harder, longer it takes to get this back. So if we're in sync with God's source and we start to come out of balance and we catch it really quickly, it's pretty easy to get back. But when we start going out here, how difficult is it when you're really out of balance? It takes way more energy to get back in. So I love preventative measures where when we're in sync, where we're amplifying how great things are and we keep that energy going. We enjoy that, maintain that, magnify that, amplify that. And so right now, to answer your question, and this is a long answer to a short question, but so what we're wanting to do is to get back into sync with this part of us. So there is a beautiful, one of my favorite exercises. This is maybe my number one favorite of thousands of exercises that I call alignment exercises is, how would my soul look at this thing? Ask the question of, how would God's source, how would my soul look at this? Not how would my ego look at this, or how do I look at this, or how are my perceptions or my beliefs or my projections or what I learned? What do I think God's source would say about this topic? So I'm going to ask us now and see if we can get some answers. We can do a little interaction. What do you think? Let's throw some things out there. I'm just really setting myself up for this one. What do you think your soul is saying right now about this Zoom workshop connection? James, nice. 2 thumbs up. 2. Awesome. Awesome. Beautiful. I'm reading the comments. Nice. What else? Let's see. What words do you think soul is using? Okay, and there are a lot of people with hands up too. And Catherine, I'll leave that with you to.
Yeah, I think Funda had her hand up that wanted to say something.
Yes,
And
I want to say something.
Hans had a question too.
So exactly, actually, what I'm going through right now, you explain everything. It's like you just came to me like tonight is like amazing. Fascinating, I should say. Like, thank you so much.
You're so welcome. And I want to highlight something. This is really important that you realize that you are at the core of that. So you had to have come to this to receive any message that's coming through. So I'm emphasizing that it's not me that is the core of the power. The power is within each of us that is receiving the answer to what we're asking for. You see? Very good. Nice.
Hans?
Yeah, so is the question for why we're here tonight, or is it from what you commented in the first part of your lecture?
What do you think your soul or God is saying right now? But if you could hear it speak and describe what is going on right now in our experience here, how do you think it would describe it?
Well, I definitely was called to be here tonight because I had to listen to this because I have multiple meetup groups going on simultaneously at this time. But some reason my source said, look up Reverend Catherine Chapey's link and sign up for the course, and bada bing, bada boom, I'm here. And hearing your life experiences, it parallels to mine, especially the part when I was young and I also tried to end my life because I felt God had made a bad mistake. It's like, I didn't sign up for this, So I have more questions for you, but I'll let someone else go on.
Nice. Thank you. Awesome. And so that brings up a topic, and I do want to hear from others that are putting their hands up here. I've been really fortunate. So you heard Catherine describe there's four main ways that we communicate with the world through our senses. And those include, of course, you've heard some people talk about them. You've got this is one that is most unknown, is the knowing energy. We have a knowing energy. We have a visual, auditory, and a feeling kinesthetic tactile part of us. So we have four. We interact within this matrix through these four different avenues. My mentor of 8 years, she basically spent 8 years teaching us her kind of the one that she had learned from her mentor about how to interact with the world through these four. And I decided to dismantle the whole thing and recreate it. I always give credit where it's due, always. And so I wanted to honor that she initiated me to learning about those four. But then I basically dismantled the whole thing and recreated it, channeled it. And so I'm going to share with you my own perspective on these. These are also known in psychic and intuitive worlds, not just with mental. So these are behavioral, communication, and learning styles. Behavioral, learning, and communication styles. They're also intuitive. You've heard of the first one is claircognizance, a knowing. You've heard of clairvoyance. You've heard of clairaudience and clairsentience, feeling. So for me, when I was younger, I used to see spirits all the time. And so to me, that was normal. Then one day I saw a scary movie, a terrifying movie, which I should never have watched. And all of a sudden I stopped seeing them. I could still feel them and sense them, but I could not see them. Later on in my life, around in the 90s, I started hearing the universe speaking to me as if you're speaking to me now. And so I have like 80 pages of quotes from then. And it would be like a memory. So I'd be spoken to and I'd hear it in a full sentence, and it was as if it was a memory, even though it wasn't a memory. And I'll share with you a few just so you can hear how this sounds, because our friend, I forget which one who spoke, oh, Hans mentioned this, that he heard to come to today, or he heard to look up Catherine. So some of my favorite quotes are, when the truth is spoken, there's your truth again. When the truth is spoken, this is a spiritual truth. When the truth is spoken, it rings for all eternity and shatters all illusion. So that is a quote that I heard in 2003. And Amy, isn't that fun? Was called to do this group tonight as well, instead of another Reiki group. Okay. So that's one of the first quotes I ever heard. Sometimes the universe would share with me quotes that would help me, or it would be ones that would help clients. As I became more and more in sync with the Abraham material, now it's just constant streaming. So sometimes I'm in full sync with it. Sometimes I hear it and relay it. And I'm not extraordinary. I want you to know that. I am not extraordinary, but I am an example. And the universe has showed me that I'm here not any more extraordinary than any of you. You're all extraordinary. We're all extraordinary together. But I am an example, and I'm happy to be an example for what we can do. And I believe that we are all here to support everyone else and unite humanity in who we all really are. And so we are all evolving in our own ways and our own speeds. And it just takes sometimes an enormous amount of patience, as you know, for both others and for ourselves. So I'll share one more. I had in 2003, I had given a workshop during the harmonic concordance or harmonic convergence, where all the planets in our solar system were lined up, perfectly lined up. I remember going to Ottawa, Ontario, and giving a workshop over the weekend. And one day I woke up and on one of those days, and the sun was on one side and the moon was on the other, and the birds were flying the wrong way. They were completely messed up. And it was one of the wildest experiences. So I gave this 2-day workshop, and it was a profound workshop. And yet at the end, the person who was hosting me, she got into this massive confrontation with her son's girlfriend. So I ended up staying at this for, I don't know, 5 hours, attempting to mediate between them. I drove home, got home really late. I was frustrated, upset. How could I have attracted this kind of experience? I had trouble falling asleep. I never had trouble falling asleep in my life before that. I fell asleep. When I woke up, the first thing I heard as I woke up, cast your judgments aside, for you have attracted the light of God into your life through all beings that are manifest. And in that moment, I thought, I have to call the mother and share this, what the universe just shared with me. And then the universe said, it's for you. It was for me, because I was judging her for being in judgment with the son's girlfriend. Cast your judgment aside, cast your judgments aside, for you have attracted the light of God into your life through all beings that are manifest. Isn't that a spiritual truth? I think we all know that, right? There's not one person on the planet or in the universe, not one being in the universe is an accident, right? We all know that. So cast our judgments aside. Doesn't mean it's easy necessarily, but it can be. The more in sync we are, the easier it is. The more out of sync we are, the harder it is. So this is why getting in sync is important. What does getting in sync mean? It means feeling more uplifted, inspired, more positive. That's not the best word, but more in sync with how our soul looks at things. So thinking higher level thoughts, better level thoughts, more loving level thoughts, and peaceful, optimistic, hopeful, certain on the things that we want, that we dream of, or that we desire, for others and for ourselves. Okay, I'll pause my soapbox. I see there's a few questions here.
Thank you. That was great. Thank you, Joshua. All right. I see Mary Grace. Mary Grace has her hand up.
Hi. Well, I guess I was drawn to be here too. Okay, I just got a box in the middle. I have been working so hard on the law of attraction and manifesting for years. And I think I've read every book except for the 2 that you mentioned tonight. So, and I don't normally come to this spiritual group of Catherine's. I go to her other ones, but not this particular one. And I was even on the fence even 2 hours ago. Do I want to go? Do I want to go? And here I am. I had no idea it was on the law of attraction. But yeah, I've been trying to manifest. And I'm a spiritual teacher, so I like to think I'm in a really good place in my life, spiritually, physically, mentally, in a lot of ways. But I wrote a couple books and I do spiritual counseling, and they're just, both of those things are just not going anywhere. And I was like,
Okay, hold that
Yeah.
right there. Did everyone hear the truth? The truth? Did everyone catch that?
Yeah, what I said, it's not
What
going
did you
anywhere.
say? What did
It's
you
not
say?
going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere. So of course, so what I want to show, this is a profound, beautiful thing that universe showed me. And we all know this, I think, or anyone who's had near death, and if you haven't, it's okay. I just keep highlighting that because I know a lot of people here might have. Imagine this. God inserts an infinite number of itself into this matrix that it's created. So it can go through an experience moving throughout this entire holographic non-reality. And then it comes out and goes back in an infinite number of times to awaken to what it is, because it already is, but it doesn't have the experience of going in to awaken to what it is. So we are as caterpillars that are here to become butterflies, awakening, going through this very difficult, not having to be difficult, non-reality. So when Mary Grace, when you're saying two things, number one, you said, you mentioned or you alluded to how things are not easy. Or your work, sorry, no, sorry, my bad, my bad. You said you're working really hard
Mhm.
at,
Trying
and
to
but, and what I want to show you is if you're working really hard at something, that's where the resistance is. So you want to, let me ask you this. Do you think your soul, God's source, would have to work really hard at creating anything?
No, I mean, that's the thing. It was like, ask it, it's given. And I'm just trying to figure out what am I doing wrong? And I think, I've read all the Wayne Dyer, when you believe it, you see it, and don't say I want anything, but to say that you choose something. And, I have a very blessed life. I count my blessings all the time. And I'm very content, live in a beautiful area in the country. So yeah, and so I just try keep myself positive thoughts and say, okay, be patient. And it's been years, and it's like, I'm not doing something right.
Okay, so here's where I was headed with this. So imagine that that you are an omnipotent being. You are an omnipotent being. And every second of every day, you have the power of God's source at our fingertips. But by looking at what is, we are using the power of God's source at looking at what is, because that is so powerful, it keeps what is.
Right.
So
Right.
as I was mentioning before, it will take a little bit for you to there's two ways to do this, okay? And this definitely wasn't meant to be a law of attraction event, although it's turning into that, and I'm happy for it too, if this helps us all. We'll do whatever we need to in a loving way to help everyone here. So there's two ways to do this. One is you can just feel good in general. That's one way. So you may want to even write that down. So as long as you're feeling good and elevated, so if these are different areas of my life, this is my finances, this is romance, this is my health. As I elevate, the whole thing elevates. Do you see that? The whole hand elevates. So if I elevate if I look at my finances and I elevate it, it's going to pick up the whole hand eventually. Okay, do you get that? So you don't actually have to look at the areas that are not working and change them. If you just start focusing on the areas that are working well and amplify those, it will start to pick up everything. In fact, sometimes it's better not to look at the finger that's not doing well and look at the fingers that are doing well, because if you look at the fingers that are not doing well, you're going to amplify not doing well, and that will then start being moved over to the other fingers that were doing well, and now they aren't doing well either. Got it?
Yeah. Yeah, my biggest question is like it's like, yeah, I shouldn't have to do anything except for with my thoughts. And then I get to, well, should I spend money on marketing, which I don't think I don't have and I don't want to. I should be able to just manifest this.
So the question is,
I
so
even
I
went
want to
too
show you,
far.
Mary Grace, I want to show you something. This is for everyone. I should be able to manifest this. Do you hear the effort in that? Do you hear the effort in there? This game, if we want to call it that, is about getting out of the effort, because the effort is resisting. So you want to emphasize ease. It's so easy. It is so easy. It's so easy. How easy is it? It's on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 is so easy and 0 is very difficult. It's a 5,000. It's so easy. It's easier than saying the word. How easy is it to say the word ease? Isn't the word easy easy?
Easy.
Easy, easy, just easy,
Well, I
easy.
even went to the extent of writing this was like 3 months ago, getting my checkbook and writing $10,000 in there, a deposit, and saying I wanted it in there, chose it to be in there by the end of June. Well, it's happening.
Okay, let me ask you this, and then we'll move on, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure. Let somebody else
And
talk.
you've been great. So thank you for being so open, by the way, here. If it were easy, if it was so easy, how would you feel?
Elated. I would
Okay.
feel validated. I think that was the thing, is like I
Okay,
feel
Mary
validated that
Grace,
you're
slow,
working.
slow it down. Just slow
Yeah.
down for a sec. So when you're saying those things, feel them.
Okay.
So you'd feel validated. Now feel validated.
Okay. I'm validated.
Enjoy the feeling of validated.
Okay.
And you're fast. You're so fast. I can feel it in you. That's really quick. And what else would you feel? You'd feel validated. You'd feel what else?
Just joy and being able to be helpful to pay bills.
Okay, now slow down. So feel joyful. So just enjoy. Just see if you can. What does joyful feel like?
Feel the emotion, yeah. And I spend a lot of time in meditation every day. I'm connected, God consciousness a lot every day. And I'm
So what does joyful feel like?
um raised vibration, high vibration,
High
elation,
vibration, feels light.
elation,
It
yeah.
feels light, right?
Yeah,
Feels
light.
light. And Mary Grace, you've had a near death, and I'm not sure, but was it a beautiful experience for you?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so
Life changing.
you have an advantage over almost any other person on earth. Why is that? Because, and I actually would love to inspire many who have had NDEs to do this. Spend time every day, every morning. If you had a beautiful NDE on the other side, the feeling that you had, engage that feeling on this side.
I do every morning. That's why I
Beautiful.
spend so much time. I learned right after my NDE the next day that I can connect to that light every day in meditation. So that's why I spend hours and hours. I spend more time on the other side meditation than I do with other people here.
Okay, so then here's the thing. So in the areas where it could be even a little bit better for you, see if you can imbue that area with that same feeling.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
This
And
year was terrific. Yes.
can I ask a quick question before Mary Grace goes?
Sure.
So when Mary Grace first explained her situation, she was using some language that was, in a almost like in a negative way to describe it. But once she switched it and you reminded her about the ease, right? I saw her face light up. I saw your face light up, Mary Grace, and all of this happiness and joy came over you just thinking about how easy this would be. But I'm wondering, that self-talk again, is that something that is important to focus on instead of focusing on, the lack, focusing on how easy it is and, almost not tricking your mind, but, learning like on a learning curve for people that, haven't really done this yet. Just
Yeah, one of the
a
wildest
way
things
of
I've just
thinking about it. Yeah.
yeah, one of the wildest things I've discovered is this is our natural state. This is our natural state. This is the way we were born to be. We've trained ourselves to do this. So, so the quest becomes, how do I untrain me holding down the joy that is attempting to move me up back into alignment? So it is our natural state to be here on every topic. We were born to win. We were in every area of life. We were born to live the most profound life. But we tend to resist. How do we do that? By inserting negative thoughts about different things or limiting thoughts. So by either practicing good feeling thoughts, it helps us to come back in, or by using Sedona method to release the negative thoughts, we didn't just naturally move in. Both those tools are the reason why I use those tools is because some people are better at one than the other. And so we go to the person's strength initially and help them to do that. So you're asking, is it useful to kind of pay attention to your thoughts? Some people, yes. So for some, it's better just to learn how to let go of the thought, how to let go of the emotion, and then it's not there, and you just think you're automatically in sync. Others may benefit more from learning how to focus their minds and it's an easy thing for all of us to say, what do I think my soul would think about this? And I'm going to practice how my soul looks at everything. What does my soul think of Catherine's beautiful backdrop? what does my soul think about Patrick's fantastic look with a goatee? There we go, goatee. What does my soul think about The Pow by David Mosley? What does my soul think about JB and how intentional she is? What does my soul think about Venus's cool backdrop as well? So by doing that, we are practicing aligning this way, and over time this just becomes our natural, we re-engage that authentic state, which is here. Natural is a funny word because we train ourselves into what we think is natural. So I like to use the word authentic, which is here. This could be natural because we trained it to be natural. So I like the authentic, which is here.
That's great.
Thank
Okay?
you so much. You're doing
You're
a
welcome.
great job. Wonderful, wonderful meeting.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mary Grace. All right. I see Patrick has his hand up, and I'm going to bring you in, Patrick.
Yeah, I see a lot of hands up, so I'm gonna try to
I
cut to
know.
the chase. I sort of had an angle that I was gonna come at, but well, one thing I was gonna say is whenever I feel myself disconnected, it's like a surprise, right? Like I don't know how I got there, and I do all these things to try to get back, and I mean, I guess that I'm always, but I focus where I want to go. But then also there's an element of pain, right? So what happens when pain gets involved and you feel like nothing you can do can get you back aligned, however you do it.
Okay, so this is a brilliant question. I want to show you something. So we use different tools depending on where a person is out of sync. So if someone temporary, and these are all temporary, okay, just want you to know every single thing that is unwanted is temporary. It doesn't have to be permanent. So let's just say this, Patrick, let's say that you've gone really out of sync.
Mhm.
Sometimes the law of attraction and Sedona method are not probably the best tools to use in those moments. So I'm going to show you what the best one is that I like in this moment. There's two. There's two. One, and I think for you, because you're fast, you are super fast. So I know once I say this, your system's going to like get it instantly. And
Mhm.
hang on to your hacks. It might fly right off your head. Okay, I'm just saying. Can you allow whatever is going on to be as it is the
Mhm.
question.
Well, I mean, I do, I if I reflect, I
Temporarily.
know there's some resistance because I want to have some sort of control over it and the timing of it and all that. So,
So what the way that you can come at this is whatever it is, you can actually ask yourself, can I not resist it anymore? Can I just allow it to be exactly as it's showing up?
right.
So take a moment right now, think of that area that you're maybe thinking of. Can you allow it to just be as it is for a few moments and just allow it to be as it is?
Yes.
You can. Now
Mhm.
notice when you do that, what happens? How do you feel as a result?
Lighter.
Lighter. Exactly. Now, if you keep doing that over a period of a minute, a couple minutes, you're letting go of the resistance. I'm sure many of you have heard the saying, whatever you resist persists. Have you heard that?
Mhm.
I prefer the saying, whatever you are resisting, you are persisting. Whatever you are resisting, you are persisting. Can everyone still hear me? Am I clear? Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Um,
Thank you.
you're welcome. So just keep that in mind that all that's happening is your system is getting into this and then it's resisting that it's here. But if you say, okay, okay, so it's there. And if you want to take it to even in here, okay, Patrick, now you're ready for the next level. You ready for the next level? Can I love you as you are? Can I love it as it is? Can I embrace it?
There's some hesitation, but yes.
Yeah, right. So by the way, honor the fact that you can't embrace it. If you ask yourself, can I embrace it? And you can't, say, no, I can't. Would I like to? Yes, I would. And
Right.
all of that will allow you to move into here. And then as you glide into here, you can then use these other tools or keep using that tool. to me, that you really don't even need these other tools. You could just use that one and you're going to be good. Your energy's so fast.
That connects with me. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Appreciate the answer.
betcha.
I love your background too, Patrick. It's awesome.
Thank
Yeah.
you. It's inspired by somebody I know.
They do look similar, don't
All right, I am going to, sorry. Okay, I'm going to remove, and Funda's next. Funda, you going to come in?
Hi.
I'm going to ask from there. Did you? Okay.
Hi. So I have a couple questions. Actually, what you are saying, I understand really well. Right now, how I feel is my exit is coming my way. I work for the government. I am an ET, human hybrid, lots of skills, abilities, and I know I am opening to public very soon. They are taking me my direction. So what I'm experiencing, exactly like you are saying, I am not in a survival mode anymore. I just know and trust. So is that the core? When we actually know, and then when we trust, everything comes to you very easily. Because I experienced that on Sunday. I mean, I found $20 and I went to Move On meeting. I found $20. And after that, I went to Pueblo. I mean, it's just everything. And then there's this couple, they are singer because, my frequency, I do sound healing. So she wanted to work with me with the singing, using sound healing and my voice. So it was raining really hard. I stopped in that coffee shop. I was debating, should I go in or not? And then I was so hungry. I got in and then they were in there. And then, we knew we need to connect with each other. So it's just you don't do anything, but they bring you everything. So this is how I know. I am, I always say, my truth is my alignment. So I know I am actually going to go towards aerospace or military, working in frequencies. And I know things are coming from. So is it the good way to describe when you know and trust, and they will bring the right people, right situations for you?
It's a really good question. So remember how I said there's 4 different communication styles for, it depends on which one is your strength, to be honest. If someone is not strong in the knowing area, for me to say just know and trust, they have no idea how to do that. It's very difficult for someone where that's their strength. But if that works for you, then you're good. And I do sense that that is yours. You are knowing first. I mean, I can go through the order if you want, and tell you what your order is, but in order of strength. But you're definitely you're knowing, auditory, feeling, visual. Visual's last, believe it or not, even though you might put visual higher. By the way, if you're wondering what I'm doing, there is an amazing film. This is mind-blowing on how it shows how we access these 4 capabilities in a visual way, and it was an action film, and it's called Next with Nicolas Cage, and it's from many, many years ago, and he can see into the future by 2.5 minutes, so he constantly changes his reality, but it shows how he can see what's going to happen and tune in, and I love that film because we actually have those capabilities in that way. So I'm checking with Funda just to see. So actually I said knowing, auditory, feeling, visual, but actually your knowing, feeling, and auditory are really close. Okay, no, sorry, I got correction. Your knowing and feeling are very tied, and then auditory and visual. So because you're so strong in the knowing department, just knowing and trusting, that is easier for you in general. So I say if it's working, just keep going with it.
And then one more question, I'm working at the government now, it's targeting all that stuff, of course, these people are the players for us to move forward. But how can you get rid of the stickness? Because my guides told me when you actually move to new direction, you don't want to carry the stickness with you. So, and then you mentioned from the beginning, so I'm how we can do that.
You're bringing up a really good point too, because I've met many who want to be so spiritually aware and awake and alive. and yet some of them don't do some of the, and it's not the best phrase, but some of the inner work. And the inner work is really about exploring the recesses of who and what you are, discovering every nook and cranny of who and what you are. And by the way, if you're searching through every nook and cranny of who you are, it also means letting go of every nook and cranny of who you are not. And so when we discover that we are God source beings, we're not really human beings, we are God source beings. We let go of all the illusions, and then we're automatically in sync with that aspect of us. So I like using Sedona method as a way of letting go of the stickiness. I think you mentioned sticky.
Mhm.
So for me, the premier tool that I use is Sedona method to let go of the stickiness. But the Sedona method is not, it's not a quick read. I have my clients take 4 months to read through this book. I have them go through 1 chapter a week and process as they're going through this book. So it's when the book says to you, let's say chapter 3, what area of your life would you like to change? You literally write down the areas that you want to change. And then you go through the releasing questions and practice them and become amazing. The Sedona method really is just actually reminding us about how we were as children, as babies. So we were naturally laughing and then crying and then laughing, and we're dropping emotions all over the place. But as adults, we start grabbing on. I don't have a pen handy. We start here. We get to use my divine essence aroma bug thing. So we we grab on to the emotion, and then we literally become the emotion. But we are not the emotion.
Mhm.
But if you hold on to your pen in your hand, if you want to do this now, you can. Grab onto your pen really tight and hold on to this, okay? To the point where it's a little painful. After a while, you will no longer feel your hand. You'll only feel pain. Now, turn your hand over and let your hand relax a little bit. And let it move back and forth in your hand. And now, just let it drop out of your hand. And now, how is your hand? Maybe it's still a little sore, but it's more free. It's more free, you see? So this is discussed in the Sedona method. It's one of my favorite examples of letting go. We are letting go of the stickiness. So Funda, that's your key.
Yes, just like flowing, that's what I'm doing right now. I am with those people. I'm like, gratitude for them, because what they are doing, they are pushing me my way. I'm saying thank you, and then also just flowing, still doing my best, but not sticking with the emotions or feelings towards them.
Beautiful.
Thank
Very
you
good.
so much for everything. It was great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank
Next.
you. All right.
I know our James is having some issues. I guess he probably can't hear us at all.
Actually, it was his Bluetooth. So
Yeah, he's out now. So there we go.
okay. Mike. Hello, Mike. Let me bring you in.
Hello, that was very interesting for me because around the year 2002, I was going to be going through the same thing you went through. Almost lose my home, everything I had, and through my connection, I could get back on my feet again. But there is something I don't understand about human. Why they want to make so much money? Why? I don't get it.
Yeah. There's really one reason, by the way. There's one major reason. Because we've forgotten that we are already free. So we have to try to prove it to ourselves by getting more money to create the illusion of freedom. It's the only reason. Abundance, believe it or not, so the word abundance, many people look to wealth for abundance, but abundance comes from God. It doesn't come from wealth. In fact, we can look at everything and know that it comes from God. We all know this. What comes from God is abundance, light, truth, peace, freedom, expansion, clarity, joy, bliss, presence. All of these things come from there. And we, in our disconnect from here, attempt to create through an artificial form. So we use money. Money becomes the artificial form of abundance. So we do the same with virtually everything. The more in sync someone is, the less dependent they are on those things. But I want to add something, and this is where it gets really interesting, is when a person is in sync with true abundance, this physical reality through the laws of attraction reflects it back to us. And if a person isn't clean in their alignment, they can easily start to become sticky to the reflection around us of the manifestations. I hope that made sense. So this is really about us going here. I say here, going here for abundance, going here for home even. Many people become attached to their homes as their home. And many people who've gone through being moved out of their country, or they have war-torn countries, they feel displaced for the rest of their life. And if they just went to true home, they would never feel displaced, because home is here. It's not anywhere out here. Yeah, but in a cool way, out here will reflect the in here. And the key is to stay connected to this and allow this to just do whatever it's doing. We can enjoy this, but to maintain the connection to this.
I was feeling that money thing did take us, pull human being away from the reality, because instead of working on get away from this planet, because it's not going to last forever, they're all concentrating to make more money and make wars to take that one, take this one. And I don't get it. I still don't understand it. Why don't they think of the reality? All they think about the imaginary things. That's what they do.
A lot of it is training. They've been trained that that's how to get that. So they probably learned it from family, picked it up from movies, from television, from people around them, from cultures.
Yeah, because I feel it. This planet is not gonna last permanent forever. The way it's going.
I love the movie The Matrix, and one of the best quotes in that film was, "For everything that has a beginning has an end." And so I am with you that eventually this planet will have its end, but there will be many other beginnings in other worlds, and all of us are continuously coming in, going out, coming in, going out, coming in, going out. So never ending. Thank you very much, Mike. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Mike. All right, we have Hans. Hi, Hans.
Hey, what a great evening. Thank you, Joshua. My question is, when you were explaining the Sedona method, how would you apply it for someone who's had so much childhood trauma? And I don't want to get too much into my health challenges, but it's caused me to have to depend on government assistance, and I've been trying to manifest a financial abundance so I can get off of all this financial abundance. I am a student of Greg Braden, and I understand in the gospel, I think Thomas, where it talks about pray as if it's already happened. So intellectually, I understand all that you're saying. So I'm really, I don't want to use the negative words, but processing this and practicing it in my life.
So there's a lot there to unpack. Sometimes, especially physical health, is one of the most challenging aspects of life, because we take our body with us every second of every day. We can't really get away from it. So that can sometimes be the trickiest. So I hear you for sure and feel you. I'm just checking in to see what the best way to go here is. Do you remember the very first words that you said there?
I remember saying that because of my health challenges, I've had to depend on government assistance. I'm on a limited income, something along those lines. And I have, again, it's hard for me not to use negative words because I probably know what you're going to say afterwards, but I do have trouble manifesting these things.
Okay, hold that. So that's very similar to Mary Grace, right? So you're again trying too hard. So whenever anyone efforts, effort is resisting. So the reason why it's the most common question that I hear about law of attraction doesn't work for me. I've heard people say that so many times. And I say the law of attraction is like gravity. It's working for you whether you want it to or not. It's constantly working. The question is whether you're in sync with what you want. That may not be working very well, but the law of attraction is going on. The quest becomes, how do I get myself in the direction of what I want, that of what I desire or what I'm inspired? Let me use another way. What do you think God wants for you? What do you think God and your soul wants for you in this physical reality? Do you think it wants you to thrive or to be challenged?
I believe that he wants me to thrive.
It wants you to thrive. So that is really significant. And so if you can tune into that, it wants you to thrive, that part of you wants to thrive, then ideally you want to start practicing, let's say, a new story. So start telling yourself a new story about your life. It's like a make believe, but, and, but. Don't fake it. Do not fake it. Many of us, I used to teach fake it till you make it. That was a very common teaching in personal development. It doesn't work actually. And so the best thing to do is find something that feels good, but that is true. Find something that is true, but feels good when you identify it. So what is an example of what's true and might feel good? There are at least, I'm not sure the number here, but at least 20 loving beings in this Zoom. That's true and it feels good. And that's an example of, if you start piecing that kind of sentence together and many sentences like that together, how about, here's another one you can use. I look forward to when my physical body is in sync with who I am. I look forward to the possibility of my body feeling good. So notice how I'm not saying my physical body feels great. I'm not doing something like that. We're easing into feeling good about what's possible. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So ease into it. The fake it till you make it, in my experience now after many, many years, it's not the best way to go, in my opinion. I would pick and choose. I would get both books, Ask and It Is Given and Sedona Method. You choose which one you become masterful at first. And commit. Commit.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you, Hunt.
And Doctor, just one quick question. Will you be putting your contact information in case we had follow-up questions to contact you afterwards?
Yeah, sure. Catherine, do you have that information, Catherine? We could put in the chat box in the
Yeah, I can get that and put it in.
Thank you so much.
You put in your email, or what would you want?
Email and phone number are good.
Okay. All right, I'll put that in.
Thank you so much. That's great.
All right.
Ask and receive. Holy smokes. Amazing. And I mean by that was Hans asking and receiving, not me asking, but Hans asking.
right.
So
All right. So now we have Amy. Hello. Hi, Amy.
Hi, Reverend Catherine. Hi, Joshua. Hi, everybody. Thanks for this great night. Okay, I got a little bit of I'm gonna try to condense this quick because I also have some anger towards my mother from childhood. But I want to say in the past 30 years, I think the first book I picked up was Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. And then shortly after, my sister-in-law told me about Ask and It's Given, and then The Secret. So I was manifesting at like 20 years old. manifested a move from New York to Portland, Oregon, decided I was moving out there, manifested a great guy, a wedding dress I found in Paris. That was crazy. Walked by the window, was like, that's my dress on sale. Got the houses, the baby. I even manifested being pregnant. 4 months, I rubbed my belly, was pregnant. Good job working with children, art, nice, like right hours, all this stuff. Okay. But I get to the last 10 years, 2015. So I'm kind of curious if everybody in this group has had this, the dark night of the soul. My entire life went crashing down. Divorce, father died, husband found someone else. Issues with my mother that I realized all along was because she was a narcissist. So tons of anger, had to move, leave friends behind. Daughter went to college, hormones, night sweats, changed my entire diet. Okay, bottom line, I lost all my joy, lost all my sweetness, can't have cookies, brownies, cake, blah, 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 can't have alcohol, can't have fun. And I realized by doing, like, I've done a ton of work on myself. I journal. I completely agree that journaling works. So you get the answers. I hear my spirit guides. I see my dad in my living room, even though he passed. I know I'm here for a reason. I said to God so many times on my knees, why are we put through this? Like everything left my life, the family, the friends, the house, the dog died. I mean, you name it, it was gone. So, okay, coming back out, moving forward, new story, new identity, which is really hard when you are a mom, a wife, a daughter, a friend, everything, and it's gone. So, what is the reason that we go through this dark night and lose so much? Okay, sorry, that was a really big one, you guys.
No, it's a really, legitimate, of course, question, right? So there are two main answers here, okay? There are some beings that go through that type of challenge partially because when you go through that and you make it through, you are now conscious. You are now aware, conscious. You're now awake. When we talk about, I use the example of a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. Do you think that that's comfortable for that caterpillar to go through that? It's not. I would imagine it's not. But it goes through it and it comes out on the other side. We don't have to go through all of that, truthfully, but for some reason in that way, some of us do that because we are here to awaken in a more dramatic way than others. And I'm all about being of service to humanity and each other. And at least for me, when I look back and say, well, why did I choose this path the way I chose this? And why was this created this way? I came to realize because I now can help other people to move through anything even remotely close to this in a much more loving, smooth, uplifted way. And I said, I'm not extraordinary, but I'm an example. So I'm not going to say you're not extraordinary, but you are an example of how to fall down and get back up again. One of my favorite quotes from a cheesy comic book movie, Batman Begins, was the child falls down the well. So Batman, when he was a child, falls down the well and I think breaks a wrist, and then his dad gets him out of the well, and he says to him, "Why do we fall, Bruce? Bruce Wayne, Batman, why do we fall?" And the quote is, "So we can learn to pick ourselves up." Now, I don't want to sound so ominous when I say that, because also as a creator, we do not have to go through life the way that we choose. We don't have to go through it that way. We have a choice to go through it in a smooth, uplifted way, loving, joyful way. But if we don't know that, then sometimes it takes time before we discover that. And so what I am here to tell you is we can't change what happened in the way that it happened, but going forward, you definitely now know, because you're hearing it from me, you're attracting this time together for me to tell you, you never have to go through life ever again in that way. That going forward, you can choose a light, loving, supported, respected way. And so, and the faster that you can get into that mindset, the more profound life is going to be sooner.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I feel like there's obviously a reason to go through that much stuff. I know I signed up for a lot this lifetime, but I was like, really? God, really? And like, it was just like, oh, what hit you? Hold on, hang on, hang on. Okay, I was like, no,
Yep.
no, I can't
You know,
anymore. Where's the rope?
well, think about what my dad must have gone through while he felt my hatred towards him every day for 18 years. And but didn't have any memory. He's not into any of this stuff. He had no memory that we agreed to that. So that would have been hell for him every day, and he can't get out of it. He couldn't get out of it. And so why would he choose that? You know? So we don't necessarily understand everything that's going on in this non-reality from a human perspective. But when we go to the other side or connect with that other part of us that is aware, sometimes it can offer some solace and support and love and encouragement through those times that are challenging. And so, um, Amy, this part of you is always there and will never not be there forever. That is who we really are. And then it's just a matter of dragging
Yeah.
encouraging ourselves into this sync as fast as possible. One of my clients, one day his wife came home and she said, I'm divorcing you. And it was out of nowhere. And they had 3 kids and he didn't know what happened. And of course, he'd been working with me for about 4 years. And within about 2 weeks, he was able to start to see that he was attracting this for his betterment. And as he did that, within a matter of 3 months, he met the woman of his dreams. It sounds bizarre,
Yeah.
but he was in a marriage that was not loving, but he was not wanting to look at it. He was kind of avoiding that. And then her leaving gave him the greatest gift. And who could have called that? Your soul called that. So
Yeah.
so it's really about how quickly can I get into sync with this part of me, because it will smooth everything out, I promise.
I'm waiting for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. And
Thank you. Yeah.
everyone here loves you and supporting you. So
Yes. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Amy. All right. Thank you so much. Oh, wow. That was beautiful. Thank
we
you.
have, is there a chance of hearing from one
Yes.
and it's
Gonna
just
hear from
because
So.
yeah, because I know So we haven't spoken in a couple of
So has
years
been
and
waiting. So yes, absolutely. So do you want to come in or you want to stay in the little corner?
Hello,
Okay.
guys.
Hi, Seth.
Wow. Hi, Joshua. So nice to see you. Hi,
nice to see you
everybody.
again.
I've been the same as everyone else. I had a very busy morning. And I just happened to see the time, and you know, it was 6 something. I said, "What day is today?" You know, the thought just came because I'm on the other side in my days and times. You've got Mountain Time, Central Time, Eastern, Western, all those times. They're all driving me crazy. And then you have daylight saving, which changes the time. So at 6:47, I just suddenly thought, "There's something. I think Catherine's got something today." And I checked, and I said, "Joshua, oh my God, I gotta go join." So that was 7. I had 10 minutes to get ready. Literally, actually, the timer said you have 11 minutes and whatever to join the Zoom. Whoa. So I'm like, I'm not going to get time to prepare for my mom either. So I really joined in, and I took the whole time meditating while I'm listening to all of you. It was so, I closed my eyes. That's why I didn't turn in. I was just closing my eyes and just really being with Source. We have Source with us today. and a source who never ages, and it was just amazing. It was amazing. You always are on fire, by the way. Just don't be in the fire, Joshua. Okay, if anything, you can leave anytime. All right, you are always on fire.
Thank you.
You know, and so it was amazing. Everything you were saying. I mean, Alan Watts, Walter Russell, PMH. This is how I actually found PMH, through a Walter Russell talk. And but you know, I really, I believe everything is put before us, and we just need to be aware enough with all those four parts that you were saying to actually see it. It's like right there, do this, and then yet we still want to be like, no, I just still want to do the other thing, you know. And I'm old enough, ancient enough now to realize, pay attention. This is coming into your life for a reason. 647 came because you need to be there at 7. The same way, and with Amy, what you were sharing, all the stuff, I've had a life like that as well. I come, you know, now it seems like, wow, it's such a great life, you're doing well. Yeah, we all went through hell and came back. My parents, I had a very difficult, I still do, you know, my parents, they married the wrong person. So if you're a child of that kind of a family, you know, you already are with a lot of challenges since young. I really sometimes now, after I'm listening to so many people, I really wonder, maybe I did have something happen in the womb too, because I came and I just found this world was just really not the world I wanted to be in. I couldn't understand how people were just being the way they were to each other. And you mentioned something about, do we all feel like everyone's a child to us? I was born with that feeling, like I would see somebody, anyone suffering, and I felt like I had to help that person. Even as a child, I would talk to my dad still tells me, I went to visit his village, and there's this one 80-year-old lady who everybody hated in the village because she just looked weird, sounded weird. Everybody just thought she was really weird. One morning, this was visiting my grandmother. They couldn't find me. I was 2 years old and couldn't find me. And then finally they found me having coffee across the road with this lady. And she was really happy, and we were having the greatest of times. And they thought, you know, oh my God, you know, but I was really enjoying myself. So I think I'm attracted to, I don't know. So law of attraction, you know, like Joshua says, it's not like you have to believe it. It's there. It's just there, and attracting or repelling. And so, you know, all these things we go through a lot in my life. I've always wanted to do many things, and I've always had the door closed. And that's the door opening. My mom's coming in, I think, to ask you to get ready. I'll be there in 10 minutes. Okay. That was the door opening behind me. So the doors just keep on closing. How unlucky I am. I can't do this. I can't do that. Now, if you ask me, I'm so glad all those doors closed, because of those doors all banging shut in front of me. I'm right here, 9:25 Singapore time in the morning, with all you beautiful beings. And I get to hear all of you being so authentically yourself, sharing completely with trust. How lucky we are in this stage of our world right now to be in a place where you can even be yourself.
Can I
Right?
say, I want to share something because you're initiating something that's important. And by the way, so nice to see you, and I missed you last year, so I look forward to next time. But universe is saying something based, and you initiated it. So many people are looking for the light of God. And we have the privilege of sharing our light of God. And you have the light of God streaming through you. And sometimes it's not easy because we're looking for it from others, but maybe you are the one that is to be that. And I feel that about all of us. And you are attracting this message from me right now. So let's do it. Right? Right?
Yes, beautiful.
Right?
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
At some point I realized I'm not going to wait. I'm going to be what I'm looking for. And then I realized as I did that, that's really what I was looking for the whole time. And that changed everything. Lester Levinson, the creator of the Sedona method, he was given a death sentence. He was told by doctors he had a few hours to live, maybe a couple days. They said, go home. This is in the 1950s. Go home, live your life. Over a period of a week, you will pass away. He was in shock. He wasn't married, didn't have kids. And he decided he had nothing left to lose. So he began self-exploring himself. And after 3 weeks, he had so much energy streaming through his body that he had to start walking around the streets of New York. After 3 months, they say he became a fully awakened, illumined being. And he lived another 50 years in perfect health. He corrected all of his body issues. He changed his entire existence. And the one special key that he discovered, I'm going to share it with you now. We'll wrap up on this one. And Venus, it's lovely to see you too. I wish we had time to chat. I saw your hand up there. The one thing that he did that basically made all the difference was he realized that any time that, well, let me say before I say this, he thought, when do I feel the best in my life? When do I feel the best? And he thought, is it when other people are loving me? He realized he felt really good when other people loved him, but it wasn't sustainable because he couldn't control them loving him all the time. He realized that when he was loving other people, he felt the best, and he knew that that was the key. So what he ended up doing was he would walk around and love everything all day, every day for 3 months. He basically went full alignment with God love all day, every day, streaming, pouring through him. And because he committed to that, that allowed him to go fully in sync in all ways with God's source. And then his whole life was that state for another 50 years.
Wow.
And he never came out of it. So
Amazing.
we are all that capable.
I love it. Thank you so much. This was such a blessing. Thank you and thank you so much, Joshua, for everything you shared with us today. And thank you everybody for your vulnerability and your honesty and trust. It really, really was a beautiful meeting. It was really profound. So I appreciate all of you. And so our next meeting is going to be not next Tuesday. We have off next Tuesday because it's the 5th Tuesday of the month, but we will have Safe Space Sharing Group the first Tuesday of the month in October. So
Mom, can't we play a little longer?
Oh, Julie. Yeah, I know. We've been on for like 2.5 hours, so we're over our recording time. YouTube won't let me put it up on. They won't let me put it up if it's over 2 hours from Canva. So, all right, guys, thank you so much, and thank you, Joshua. Again, this was such a blessing. Such a blessing.
The universe showed me something recently, and this is something that I love dearly, and it is this one statement. You ready? Light to light.
Beautiful.
Love you all.